Everybody, we're just going to give it a few more seconds. People are still trickling in.
Jason, you might want to put, I don't think your screen is in presentation mode.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm Jason Hodson, Principal Architect at Edgewater Ranzel. I want to thank you for taking time to listen to our webinar on Salesforce to BIC integration. Our webinar series targets specific customer interests related to business analytics solutions that include Oracle Hyperion Enterprise Performance Management, business intelligence, and big data. If you have any questions during the webinar, please enter them in the chat and I'll answer them. Today we want to give a brief introduction to Edgewater Ranzel and what we do. We'll briefly explore the capabilities of Oracle Business Intelligence Cloud Service, or Bics. Next, we'll explain the advantage of integrating your Salesforce data with other enterprise data. Finally, we'll be devoting most of our time to a BICS demonstration using Salesforce data, and wrap up with a demonstration of the data visualization tool. So Edgewater Ranzel is a full-scope Oracle Platinum Consulting partner that delivers innovative solutions to clients that solve an array of business problems and maximize the effectiveness of their strategic, operational, and financial management processes. We remain connected to the development of new and changing Oracle products and technology and consistently apply and update leading best practice methodologies that address changing business requirements and take advantage of evolving system capabilities. Our worldwide team of over 200 employees has years of industry-specific experience, certifications on various Hyperion applications, and include Oracle ACEs, who are recognized experts in their subject area. We also have 38 Business Intelligence Cloud Service certified consultants. So I just want to cover the Business Intelligence Cloud Service tool in brief today. If you would like more detailed information, please reach out to us. So Bics features the robust visualizations, data modeling, and intuitive interface Oracle customers have come to rely on to run their business. These capabilities are available on standard web browser and mobile technologies. New to BICS is the addition of Visual Analyzer, which allows users to perform data mashups between structured data available in the database and Excel spreadsheets. We'll see this in action today during our demonstration. Since BICS is a cloud-based platform, the entire infrastructure, including web-based interface for users, data modeling, security features, and middleware, are all housed on an Oracle best-in-class infrastructure. Tight integration with an Oracle database enables your organization to visualize and consume data as rapidly as you can envision a use case. Finally, Oracle Complete Cloud Platform allows your organization to create a full enterprise platform for all your BI needs. So why integrate Salesforce to BICS integration? For those of you who are interested in statistical and analytics, I highly recommend anything by Nate Silver. In his book, The Signal and the Noise, Silver states, "We face danger whenever information growth outpaces our understanding of how to process it. For many organizations, they already have more information than they know what to easily do with. So how can BICS help?" So many organizations have data dispersed across multiple platforms that, when properly combined, provide a holistic view into the enterprise's performance, pain points, and opportunities. These data sources can include multiple ERP systems, an enterprise performance planning system, as well as your Salesforce CRM. Organized without a centralized analytics platform, often have teams of analysts who are extracting the data and manually combining it using tools such as Microsoft Excel or Access. The results of these analysts are then pushed to users through email or file share system, where they are further manipulated and perhaps shared with additional consumers. If there is a change or additional requirements as part of a follow-on analysis, or, more commonly, an error in the data due to the manual intervention, the analyst has to go back to the source systems and re-extract the data and start the process all over again. Because of this, the consumers and the analysts often do not have the agility to take advantage of the insights provided to them by their analysts. Further complicating this is that users often have additional data sitting in spreadsheets unavailable to the rest of the organization. This can be additional customer details, the result of a what-if analysis performed locally, or other organizational data that has just been identified for the inclusion in the analysis. Combining this data and creating new views can be an arduous task and further impede the analytics process. With BICS, we start at the beginning and combine the data using an automated extraction and data modeling process to load the data into Oracle's cloud data warehouse. BICS's robust visualizations allow the organization to build dashboard analysis to provide the user a guided analysis path. When guided dashboards and analysis are not enough, BICS's user-friendly ad hoc capability allows you to quickly build analysis and dashboards to answer questions. These capabilities empower the users, placing them in a positive feedback loop whereby they are able to transverse your organization's data at the speed of thought, answering business-critical questions, determining root cause of issues, and discovering opportunities. Of course, it's usually impossible to keep up with integrating data that users are receiving or generating on their own. As was mentioned previously, BICS comes packaged with Visual Analyzer, which combines the ability to take this data and upload it into BICS and perform a mashup of the existing data warehouse data to easily create their analysis. These projects can be saved for future data mashups or used as a user-driven proof of concept through a natural use case. For our demonstration, we have a sales organization with a number of pain points. First of all, they know that revenue goals have been missed, but they're unsure of how much. They don't know if they can focus on a particular sales region or customer segment, or possibly a combination of the two. The organization operates in a fast-moving and competitive industry. Closing deals rapidly is a strategic objective. They are unsure of how they are doing, and if there's a particular step within the pipeline to close process that's slowing them down. Finally, the organization is unsure who their strategic customers are, how they are affecting revenue, and if they are being affected by the pipeline to close conversion. So with those details in mind, we're going to move on to the demonstration. We've already integrated our Salesforce data and put together some dashboards and analysis. Look at these and then perform a data mashup with some data we've extracted from our ERP and EPM systems to assemble a user-driven POC. We'll then look at an integrated data model and complete the ICS dashboarding solution created using Visual Analyzer proof of concept. Along the way, we'll demonstrate how these naturally evolving capabilities can contribute value to your organization. Let's get started. So for those of you unfamiliar with Oracle Business Intelligence, the most common way for users to consume data is through a dashboard. Typical dashboard has a prompting mechanism at the top that drives the content of the dashboard. In our case, we are prompting by time and customer type. Since Oracle Business Intelligence is geared toward analytics rather than reporting, reports are referred to as analysis. A single dashboard can contain multiple analysis. However, a best practice is to limit the content so that users consume their data at a glance. Finally, dashboards are organized by pages, which typically address a single business question or aimed at a particular business user, such as executives or functional manager. In our case, we have tabs for opportunities, account details, and our sales quota variants. Finally, action links are pre-built mechanisms to drill through to additional views of the data. As with navigating nearly any web page, action links can typically be identified by blue hyperlink text. Set up correctly, these action links pass both the dashboard filters as well as the filters at the data intersection selected. For instance, we have hyperlinks for each of our green opportunity forecast performance tiles. We can either click on the number representing the projected revenue, or click on the graphical object itself. Action links can be created to drill from bar chart bars, pie chart pieces, or other visual elements. So now that we're oriented, our first dashboard is our Salesforce-only data, in particular focused on account and opportunity. As we mentioned, we have performance tiles at the top to provide information on opportunity forecast at a glance. As I mentioned, we're concerned with how quickly we're moving our opportunities from pipeline to close. We can see at a glance that we have $2.6 million in our best case. As any sales organization knows, it's much cheaper to keep a current customer than go after a new customer. So let's look at our existing customers. The good news is we have a proportionally higher balance in commits, but we still have about $1.2 million in best case. So let's explore this by using these pre-built action links we just looked at to jump to additional details. So we just click on our tile, account performance details. And at the top, we can see that we've carried our filters from our forecast category, best case, as well as our month. This is expecting existing customers, this is also just those customers. In our top table, we have a summary of our total opportunities as well as average and expected revenue for this data intersection of data. Below this, we have details on each of these accounts and opportunities, sorted by the rating and expected revenue. Further down, we can look at our top 5 accounts for expected revenue with all the other accounts grouped into other category. Again, at a glance, we can see that Old Navy contributing the largest revenue. We've essentially moved from an aggregate detail of the data, but still strive to provide visualizations that allow our users to consume their data at a glance. So action links are not limited to moving within BICS. We can also navigate to external content, including Salesforce. For instance, if we want to see additional details that may not be in the BICS data source, we simply click on the account name, which directs us to the account in Salesforce. So Old Navy, Salesforce. And here we are within the account. So we can continue our actions, perhaps contact this customer, and see what we can do to get our pipeline moved along. So returning to our dashboard and scrolling down, we get a feel for other details of our organization. For instance, we can track how quickly our close revenue has been moving through the various stages. We can see a definite spreading of revenue through our pipeline and commits over 4 months. But once we hit commit, we close pretty fast. Further down, we can see average days we spend in each sales pipeline phase. Again, at a glance, we can see we're way outside of our target performance by the red block by almost 27 days. The number of days we spend in best case and commit are also disproportionately large. So these represent opportunities for improvement. To the right of the waterfall chart, we have our top 5 customers by expected revenue and how our pipeline actual and expected revenue performance. We can see we can miss our sales close targets for our highest revenue accounts. So again, using our predefined action links, we're going to drill into the details of one of these accounts. So Hillsdale Supply. And we're just moving from this opportunity to this account dashboard, passing our prompt values. Again, we've tried to build data that provides the details for our users. So above here, we have the details on all the opportunities we have with this client. We also have a pie chart on the opportunities that we've won and closed. So we're doing very well with this customer, but we can see that our pipeline to close, our pipeline to best case and best case to commit is rather high, but we're still missing our variance over here on the right. So with this pie, we're going to take a pause from our dashboards. We want to look at some details that aren't available in Salesforce that we've extracted from our ERP and EPM system. We hope these details might provide some additional details of focus to help address our strategic goals. Because of our multiple systems, ERP, EPM, and CRM, we've decided to maintain our various hierarchies in our ERP solution and push them to the other systems. At the bottom of our customer hierarchy, we have industry, which ties to the industry attribute in Salesforce. So each account ties within this hierarchy. We're also maintaining our sales hierarchy within our ERP system. And using our billing address, we've assigned each account to a single subregion and then created a regional roll-up. Finally, from our EPM system, we've downloaded sales revenue quota data by our industry and subregions for the month of July 2015. All this data is saved in Excel spreadsheets on my desktop. We're going to use these spreadsheets to get a feel for what may be driving our target variance performances. So back in BICS, we're going to navigate to our visual analyzer, and we're going to create a new project. And we're going to choose our Salesforce Revenue Basic model and add it to our project. So now we have all the revenue and forecast dimensions that are available in our Salesforce model. Next, we're going to add our customer hierarchy data. So I'll click on my data sources, right-click, add data source, create a new data source from a file, and simply browse to my customer hierarchy, open it, and notice that Visual Analyzer matches my industry, which already exists in this data model that we brought in. So what we do is just add this to our project. Next, we're going to add our sales region hierarchy, create a new data source from a file, sales region, open, And again, it's matched on my entity key, which is already available in my data model. Okay, so now we've got both my Salesforce data model available in my data warehouse as well as these two spreadsheets. First thing we're going to do is filter by our July 2015 month. So all we do is click, drag and drop to our filters. We want 2015-07. And next we're going to add our specialization and pivot this by our region description. So this is data from our two spreadsheets now combined together. Up here we are going to take our forecasted revenue and our average expected revenue and put it in values. And again, we are interested in our close rate. So our pipeline at best case is the average number of days we're doing it for the month of July. So we're just going to drag and drop this in color. So this is somewhat helpful. The visualizations, excuse me, if you're not on mute, can you please mute? But of course, it's visual analyzers, so we want to visualize these things. So we drop this down, and notice that we have our standard pie charts, bar charts, area charts, but what we want is the tree map. I have an affinity for these. And so instantly, we can see that our big box retailers is contributing our largest average expected revenue. Our Midwest region is pretty high as far as the darker the color, the more our average pipeline at best close days. So this is our worst region within big box. Down here in retailers, which is our smallest, it's hard to see, so we can just pop this out and look at this. We have a little struggle in the southern region, but not too bad overall. So we can also easily flip our view of our data here by just taking specialization and dragging it down to region. And our entire graph formulates. And again, we continue to expand these. So we've already taken the liberty of importing our quota data and matching it up with our Salesforce and ERP data, and then building out a complete visual analyzer project and making some performance to this one. So let's take a look at how this thing all comes together. So again, we've saved this. And so this is a combination of both our ERP data and our EPM data. And we've also extended this somewhat by creating a new calculation, this variance. So this variance is my expected revenue minus my quota divided by my quota. So we're not just limited to what's in our spreadsheet. We're not limited to what's in our data warehouse. We can extend these things naturally through a very easy to use and intuitive user interface. So we'll put this thing in presentation mode. So another feature of Visual Analyzer is an interactive filtering mechanism. No more do we have to create drop-downs and just click on names and things like that. So, for instance, if we wanted to look at our worst performing customer specialization segments here in our bar chart, we can highlight them. So we can tell by this line chart, this is our variance percentages, this is our expected revenue, and this is our quota. So we've selected some of them. We're going to right-click, keep selected. Notice that up here, these have now been added to my filters. And not only did this graph zoom in to these details, but this graphic on the left also filtered by those same specializations. And we still have the ability to expand our graphics and take closer looks at our details. So, as I mentioned, users can leverage Visual Analyzer as a user-driven POC. In this case, we've already determined what the data set looks like from our spreadsheets. And now we know how our users want to visualize it. So from there, we can develop automatic data extraction from the source systems and create a BICNS analysis and dashboards. So we went ahead and did that. We extracted our ERP and EPM data, loaded our data warehouse, and conformed it to our data model. So let's go back to BICS and see how this all comes together. So we're going to go to our Opportunity Augmented Dashboard, which is essentially the same as our opportunity, except now we have our prompts by our classification industry, region, and sub-region. So at a click, we can see how Big Box is doing. So, and our drill path still works. So when I click on this, not only am I going to get for March 2015, but we're also going to get these big box retailers. And scrolling down, I see that we should probably be reaching out to CompUSA because they're one of our top 5 customers. Below this are performance tiles, my filters. We've replicated the tree map that our users created as part of their POC. We've also extended it somewhat. So they had selected average pipeline to best close days, but we can make this graphic work a little more for them. So if we want to see our best case to commit, we simply click on it, and the graph reformulates right here in place. So we don't need a separate object for different views of these data, so your users can interact with it right here. So finally, bringing everything together, the integration of our ERP and EPM in our new dashboard. So with this data, we were able to update our performance tiles to include this variance data and create some conditional formatting. We can see at a glance that we've got a large part of our pipeline stuck in best case. Updating our filters resets the coloring of our tiles. For instance, looking at big box again, we can see that we have performing about average, but we have a terrible variance from the quota. Below our performance tiles, during our filters, we've replicated this bar chart table and pivot table that our users had created during their POC and extended it somewhat with some conditional formatting. So, as we can see, we've treated the Visual Analytics project as a requirements document. We've taken advantage of the additional capabilities in BICS to provide our analytics platform that hopefully exceeds the expectations of our users. Another advantage of BICS is it's mobile, and it's mobile without any extra development work. The dashboards and analysis that I've developed inside of the web-based browser are automatically available on the app that's downloaded from the App Store in both Android and iPhone. It has the prompts and dashboard interactions as well as the action links that you expect to use. So I'm going to pause real quick to ask if we have any questions about the BICS before we move on to our data visualization desktop presentation. And Vivek, I'm sending it over to you, and I'll keep an eye on the chat.
Thank you, Jason. Thanks a lot. Can you please confirm, are you able to hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. And I've got your desktop.
That's fantastic. And great demo, by the way. So yeah, guys, this is another feature that you actually get on top of the BICS, the web-based product that you just show. It comes with multiple different features. We went through some of the dashboarding examples. Jason went through some creating some quick visualizations and what have you. And of course, with the emphasis being that you can bring in all these disparate data sources together into one centralized repository, and you can start to do all these analysis with the added option of bringing in and doing some mashups on the fly where you can plug in different Excel sheets. With this particular feature of the data visualization desktop, we actually take the whole concept to a different level. So this is what the tool looks like. Just to quickly go through some basic stuff. Well, it is a desktop tool. You actually go ahead and download it, and of course, I would welcome all of you to go ahead and try it if you want to. It's available for evaluation from the Oracle Technology Network. So this is what the homepage actually looks like, and the first thing which I would like to highlight is actually the data source. It actually caters to a whole array of different data sources. So with Bics, the data, once it's available into the backend repository, which Jason alluded to, it is actually an Oracle database, and it can bring in some Excel sheet. But if you have other data sources that you have lying around within the organization that you would like to be part of this thing, as Jason coined this term, the user-driven POC, let me mash up this data with something else that you might have available within the organization, absolutely. And that paradigm is taken to a whole new level with this particular offering here. So yes, we can consume the sheet from this interface as well. You can connect directly to Oracle applications if you have some running in-house, such as Oracle Sales Cloud, Oracle HCM Cloud, Oracle CS Cloud, or financials, what have you. So if you are into any of our front-end or back-end applications running inside the cloud, you will be able to connect directly onto them using this product. Additionally, as far as the actual data sources that you might have running within your organization, there are a number of these options available as well. Let me just go through the list here. Tables, let it churn through. Well, it's taking a little longer than I thought. While it's actually going through that, let me just go through. These are some of the connections that I've already established in this case. As you can see, you can directly connect to SQL Server. Of course, the Excel files and what have you are completely fair game. And these are some of the connections that I already have available within the system. So one thing I wanted to highlight is the fact, and this one right here, is that not only we can connect to your standard data sources like your Oracle database, SQL Server, MySQL, Teradata, what have you, but we have taken this concept to a new level where we can actually connect to, if you have certain big data sources running at the back, quote unquote, if you have certain Spark clusters that you might have available within your organization, or you are using Hive or Impala on the Hadoop clusters that you might have, or a document store such as MongoDB, all of those sources are fair game. We connect directly to these things using a JDBC connectivity, and you can bring all these sources right into your fold and add it to all the experimentation and the data analysis that you're performing. Now, coming back to the data visualization, you just saw a quick demonstration of how Jason actually connected to a Salesforce.com source, bring it back together, and matched it up with some ERP data and with some enterprise performance management data. I've taken actually a similar data set in this case, and I wanted to show you like some of the advanced stuff that you can do in terms of not only being able to create visualizations, but actually have some intelligence built into them. So in this case, let me just give myself a little bit more screen real estate here. Yeah. So, I created some standard stuff. What I did is, took the same data set and I wanted to see what are my outliers, and it actually quickly highlights what my outliers are. Of course, gives me the reference line. Here are my outlier analysis again, but based on all the accounts that we have available within our data sources, and underneath it we are doing some cluster analysis. Now the beauty of being able to create all of that is the simplicity. And if you want, if you have some time, we can actually build out one of these visualizations from scratch. But some of the things that you actually see is the UI is exactly identical to your visual analyzer, which you get with Bics. So that means the skills that you will learn on that platform will completely be transferable here. There is no learning curve at all. If you're comfortable with that part of the tool, you will be extremely comfortable with this part. The other thing is the out-of-the-box analytics that we actually deliver with the product. And this is where the light bulb goes off. Now you're not only creating your reports and visualizations and trying to send a message in the most visually appealing way. At the same time, we actually offer you right-click analytics. So these are the functions that we offer out of the box: the clustering, the outlier, reference line, trending, and forecasting. And these are not available in case, you don't need to be a statistician per se. You're just throwing in data, and on a right-click, all these options are actually made available to you. So the idea is, while you're creating these charts and graphs, you can actually embed intelligence within those reports, and suddenly they become analytically very, very important. So let's take a very small example here. Let's just expand this one. This is a classic scenario. We have hundreds of these accounts that we are operating at. All I wanted to do is give me all of my accounts and give me all the amount that is actually riding on these accounts, and go right-click and give me the reference line. And this is where everything above it is actually beyond what we normally do. And again, the idea is not like, statistically embedding this kind of information coming from statistics background myself. It is relatively complex, and the genius is to be able to provide it at this level where your normal day-to-day reporting analyst, the business business users who are creating these and consuming these reports will be able to do these things and see, well, what's out of the norm? Are we operating where we need to be? You know, what does it actually looks like? Not only what it looks like today, but let me forecast it out. So on that same note, let me just actually go ahead and create from scratch so you can get the sense of what it takes to build something like this out. So I'll come back here. I'm going to go ahead and select the data source that we have available here, Salesforce webinar data. Let's just stick to the same example, create a project. And you know, there are just certain fields available here, and I would like to do something fairly quickly. Let's stick to the account example. Give me all the account IDs and the amounts associated with them. And let's just create something. And you know, the tool goes out and automatically creates the visualization that best represents the data. In this case, well, you know, because the number of accounts are great, it gives me the flexibility to actually go ahead and change it if I wanted to. You know, I don't necessarily have to stick to the option that is available to me from within the tool. And of course, again, this component of the product is actually called the canvas. And the idea is, you know, you mishmash the data, you turn things around as you will normally do within, you know, a canvas kind of an interface. Now let's start to dig right into the analytics side. You know, so have all of these information. This is the amount of money that we have going on within things. What I would like to do is just add a, you know, give me all the outliers. What are some of the accounts that stand out of the norm? I can go ahead and add this thing. At the back end, in case you're interested, what we are doing is we are doing the k-mean clustering here, and automatically it's figured out and actually create those things. You know, it's like, this is the outlier, this is the ones that are not outlier. Okay, this is good. I would like to actually sort this data so that I can actually see who are out of the norm and what have you. But maybe before that, let's draw a reference line up, you know, so that I can visually see this is where I need to be. And this is fundamentally the point that separates it from when we are asked to develop or deliver certain analysis and you create a report that tells you what it is. But this line right here, although seems fairly simplistic, it actually is a huge thing, because now you can clearly see visually what is outside of the norm, you know, or where are the places where we're not doing so well. So let's do something simple as actually sort this information out based on amount from high to low. And suddenly it aligns all of our accounts based on what it is, and you can see all the outliers are the ones where the information goes as high as this. Let me just go ahead and turn this into a vertically stacked bar, and that's the more natural way, or at least I prefer looking at this way. So anything outside of this particular point, you know, around, you know, little less than around 150,000 is where we generally operate. But this bit here, these are the accounts where we're actually not making so much money, and the outliers are actually on the both ends of it. So these are the outliers in terms of the customers who are doing exceptionally well, also way beyond than where we normally operate, almost touching the $1 million mark. But on the down here are the ones, these are the accounts which are exceptionally low in value. So again, all we did so far is about 3 clicks of data, bought in some data from Salesforce.com, and suddenly I'm getting a whole array of information. What are my best accounts? What are some of the worst accounts? Where is the huge opportunity lies in terms of the account management, where we can bring them up back to the speed? And more importantly, maybe we need to cut these accounts out, because probably it's costing us more money to manage and maintain these accounts, and the amount that we are making out of it is total outlier. So again, this was a very simple example where we went through, threw in only 2 things, you know, did some on-the-fly statistics to it, and suddenly walked away with a whole array of information. So some of the other things that I would like to show within the tools, we have about 10 minutes here, is in terms of the actual statistics. So these are the algorithms that we deliver out of the box that are available to you with a simple right click. Of course, you can change the colors, you know, you can export the data, you can do a whole array of other things in terms of managing what the look and feel of it looks like. But the important thing is, if I come back here and add a calculation, Jason actually demonstrated that to you. You know, you're not restricted to what is available to you, but you know, you can, once the data is made available, regardless of the source it comes from, you'll be able to calculate all these calculations on the fly. One thing I wanted to show is, the functions again. Think of a function that you would like to generally create within a reporting environment, and there is an extremely high likelihood that we actually offer that function within you, and far more than what is usually required in a reporting calculation. The last function I would like to just highlight here is the evaluation script. So in case you're interested, the backend statistical engine we are using here is R, which is an open source statistical engine. One of the benefits of using R is the library is extremely rich, that is supported by the community that goes with R. They offer over 7,000 CRAN packages. That is 7,000 different algorithms to perform different statistical calculations. And with this particular field here, what we can potentially do is, so generally speaking, of course, there are always exceptions, but generally, in case you're thinking of doing any kind of analysis, right, or something as simple or very prevalent these days is like, we have certain Twitter handles in our marketing department. I would like to see all the folks who have tweeted on that particular handle and calculate a sentiment. Is it negative, positive, or neutral? Like, very, very simple example. Of course, we don't offer sentiment analysis right out the box on this one, but you can easily download that package, plug these values in, and using the function that I was just showing, it could be easily made available within your analysis. So the idea is you're not restricted to these 5 functions that we offer, but the whole CRAN library can be accessed, and you offer your, for a lack of a better term, an open API that you can plug these things in and perform all sorts of functions. So let me actually give you some examples. Again, the sentiment analysis example is very, very common. A lot of folks do that. And I already actually have it available here. And in this case, this one is actually available on oracle.com. So if you want to just play around with it and see what it looks like and how to embed, a CRAN package that is not available out of the box into it, please feel free to actually come here and play around with it. But the idea in this particular example is very simple. We took a whole bunch of user reviews and we applied a statistical function across them. It extracts the terms out of them. Each term is given certain ratings and what have you, and then you calculate it and display it out to the user. So this is something that you can easily embed in your own environment, because the mechanism, the platform is available. It's just a matter of you plugging in your own values and pointing it to a certain algorithm that is available to you. The ease of use, all the feature functions that are offered within the product come right there. You can still go around and change the features and see what things looks like and drill into it and click and what have you. So this is another example of how to bring in a third-party thing. If we actually scroll further down, you can actually get the sense of what the actual data look like. What are some of the reviews that are negative or positive and all of that. And of course, a nice summarization on top. Majority of the folks think our products are pretty positive. About 25% of them think they're not so positive, and which is a concern, and we have to go around and actually fix that. And it breaks it down by all the product qualities that we have. It seems like the computers are the ones tracking a lot of the negativity around here, and also the cameras, it's mostly positive. Another example we have, again, of the outside, bringing in the third-party statistical examples is we actually took the last few years of Oracle stock performance and actually embedded all of that in there to actually calculate all of this stuff and see what actually it looks like, and give you a good sense of what is possible in terms of how to go about looking at these things, and you can analyze these trends at a relatively relatively detailed level. So at that point, I'd like to pause. And are there any questions? Jason, are there any questions on the chat?
Not right now.
Okay. Are users allowed to ask questions, or the lines are muted right now? I'm not too sure about it.
The lines are currently muted. If you'd like to talk rather than chat, just send me a quick chat and we can open up the line. Joey, I think we can open up the line to individual participants. Is that possible?
Yes.
Great. So, just guys, just going through the flow here, another example is, what is the best way to actually represent these things? And, again, there are multiple ways of doing this thing, and this is one of my favorite examples. But here the idea is actually, creating those very appealing and strong visualization that can convey a lot of message. So this is a classic example where what we actually created is a combination chart. And, again, gathering up a lot of information into one simple visualization that can convey the message. I'm looking at my sales based on all the different regions and splitting up the individual continents into different subsegments here. At the same time, I'm looking at all of my sales that are actually spread across all the profits. So as the sales are starting to grow, is it as profitable, or maybe the discounting or some of the metrics are playing a huge role here. Another thing that we are trying to do is, of course, the filtration option is available, but this particular visualization that you are seeing is actually in a format of a storytelling. So the idea is, normally what we have seen how folks operate is certain things arrive, like if we stick to the example that Jason just showed us today, is that, well, the sales teams are not hitting their target. And generally, the next obvious question becomes, why is that? And you need to go back and bring in all these different data sources together, mash it up, create something, right? Generally, a lot of these cases, the mashing up parts occur in some kind of Excel or Access database. Then you go to some visualization tool, you create those visualizations. The step 4 becomes you take a snapshot of those things and stick it into a PowerPoint presentation. And step 5 is you physically go there and present it to you present your findings in terms of, this is what it is, this is what we went about, and actually these are the findings that we find out, and if these changes are made to the process, hopefully this will not occur again. What we tried to do this particular UI is actually shrink that whole 5 to 7 step process, which can potentially take weeks or days at best, and shrink it all up. So actually the tool itself gives you this UI where you can actually start off by, creating a storyboard. So, you come here, you create your visualization, you do your narration where you understand what is going on, what are some of the outliers and what have you. And actually you send the storyboard out, like what was the thought process? What is the process you took to actually get to the point that you are trying to make here? And so these are the different insights that we are plugged together into a storyboard. And as you actually go through each of these storyboards, they tell you a very, very specific problem. And you say, well, this is how we started. And again, going back to what Jason showed us today, you start off from your Salesforce data. And you say, well, this is what the pipeline looks like. Let me bring in my enterprise performance management and the forecast data and see what that looks like. And you summarize all of your findings into one nice little storyboard that can be shared across. And once folks have access to it, not only they are seeing the information you are presenting, but you are actually walking them through the process of how did you go about doing this analysis and how did you get to the conclusion where you are at. And along the way, in this particular example, we are doing a lot of different formatting and what have you, but the idea is we went through a very structured way of going through it and actually finding out, well, this is the actual insight and this is the thing that we need to actually create. In this example, we are finishing it off and seeing, that's where the decrease is happening and what is causing it. The furniture seems to be the one that's actually creating all these things. So between the combination of stitching all of these insights together and adding annotations of saying what we are seeing and why we are seeing, you can shrink the days or weeks of effort in a multi-step, multi-tool process into this single unit, compacted together and shared. And the result is the obvious time to value. It doesn't take 2 weeks to find out why sales are so low. It actually takes you 4 hours of analysis time and about 15 seconds of sharing those analyses out to the organization. So, that was the example of the insights, the navigation pane that you can actually see. At this point, I would like to pause. I know we went through a whole array of different tools and things. If you can just unmute the user's line and see if we have any questions.
There is a question. It is back to the Salesforce data. They're asking if we're moving the data out of the Salesforce database to DBAAS or reading from the Salesforce database directly. In this case, we did extract the data because we did want to extend it and add in our ERP data as well as our EPM data. We also like to do additional ETL processes. So some of the average measures that you saw in the or the average measures for the days to pipeline close. We extracted that data and then took the difference from the day steps, and we built that out over time. So it is a best practice database, a data warehousing method. We can hook BICS into an on-premise database. So if you have an Oracle database or other data sources, we can actually connect those directly, and you have your BICS analytics laid right over that data warehouse. So you're not reliant on your an Oracle cloud database, but you can use your own databases. There's another question. I'm going to push this one over to you, Vivek. These tools look similar. What is the main difference, and when would I use either VA versus DV?
That's a great question, and I try to address it in the beginning, but the idea is, BICS, the Business Intelligence Cloud Service, is a cloud product. As we went through the presentation in the beginning, it comes with the Oracle database as a repository at the back end. You can push in all this data and do all sorts, whole array of different things. But there is always this unique opportunity where the cloud is, cloud is phenomenal, and it offers us a whole bunch of flexibility and other features that actually give us this idea of saying, well, going to the cloud will actually make sense. But then majority of things is still what we are seeing from a lot of our customers is a lot of data still on-premise, and the data, there is always this idea of saying, well, what goes up to the cloud, what stays on-premise. So yes, we do give you the opportunity, to actually bring some of that in. But if you have other data sources, and again, in the spirit of data mashups, on bringing in other things and bringing it together to actually be able to see, what are some of the trends and patterns that we can do. So one obvious benefit is that, the advanced analytics offering, the integration, the seamless integration to R is one of the key things that you actually get with this. So, you can download the product. There is a script that comes with a double click on it. It will go ahead and install not only R, but all the dependent packages that with it, and then you can continue to add on to it as your own requirements go. The other thing is being able to connect directly to all of these other sources that don't necessarily, like if you are doing some big data analysis, say for example, Spark becoming more and more popular as we are talking, and their R library itself is becoming more and more bigger by the day. Now, if you have some data residing into R or any kind of Hadoop structure or Hive, or maybe you are running some kind of, the Redshift instance over in the Oracle Amazon cloud, absolutely. Now you can connect directly to these things without the actual data moment and go ahead and start your visualization without having to find another tool that can actually speak to these sources, because your BICS instance does a phenomenal job of everything that's in the repository and doing the mashups, but what about the other stuff that I have? And this is, so the way we see this product is actually just a feature set, where, we can do everything on the cloud. You can keep everything, Salesforce.com is in the cloud, keep Bics in the cloud. But for everything else, or maybe doing these extra mashups, this tool can be phenomenally helpful. I hope I answered it. It's a long-worded answer, but advanced analytics and the ability to connect to all of these sources directly without having to move your data is primarily what this tool offers.
Great. So another question I received, do you have a pre-built data mart in the backend Oracle database to support Salesforce dashboards? Yes, we have built out using the Salesforce database that you get out of the box. We do have a data model for that, and then we can quickly spin up dashboards from there. Of course, any customizations would have to be taken into account, and then any extension of the data from other data sources, ERP, EPM, so on and so forth, would similarly affect that model. But we do have a good starting position. Again, our goal here is to stand up and get you data in weeks or months instead of months and months or years. So yes, we do have a start on that.
Any other questions?
Great. Right,
So Jason, I will pass the control back to you if you can just, yeah, just give me 1 second. There we go.
Thank you.
Now I can see your screen.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, we've talked through a use case. We've talked about the integration. We've seen that there's pretty much virtually no end of data that we could mash up with our existing data model and then extend that data model in our data warehouse to create the robust reporting and analytics solution that we looked at today. We view the integration of Salesforce with BICS to serve as a foundation for your BICS investment or create additional value for existing solutions. So we've only brushed the surface of the capabilities of BICS, and we hope we've given you an idea how BICS can be used to extend Salesforce data to create the analytic foundation to complement your needs of the organization. So we do have a few minutes, and so I will hang on to the chat here for a moment if you have any additional questions. Otherwise, we hope to see you at Kscope in Chicago. We have 11 sessions ranging from EPM to FDME and a chance to win an Apple Watch if you join one of our sessions. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly, jhodson@ranzel.com. And like I said, I'll hang on to the chat here for a few moments. And otherwise, I appreciate your time, and we hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you, Jason. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everybody. Oh, so there's a question. What is the process to refresh data from the Salesforce Data Mart, and how often do you do it? Great question. I swear I didn't prime that. This slide has been available. So we have both an ad hoc or scheduled. So we could put this on a machine locally, and you could run this every night. Or if you do something in Salesforce and you want to get that data up in the data warehouse, you just run a script right from a desktop. This does not require any more tools other than the script that we have written. And so we use API calls, so it's all cloud to cloud. There is no downloading and uploading data. It's a seamless shift over. Now that is just Salesforce data. If we're integrating other data, there's various tools we use to pull data from your on-premise resources up into the cloud in the most efficient process. But the Salesforce part is cloud to cloud, scripted or ad hoc.
Okay, Jason, thank you. As noted, any additional questions related to this webinar may be emailed to seminars@ranzel.com, and we will respond to you directly. A recording of this webinar will be available on our website shortly, where you may also find a number of previous webinars posted. And our webinars cover a range of topics, so we encourage you to visit our website to view upcoming webinars that you may find valuable. As Jason mentioned, Edgewater Ranzel is a gold sponsor of Kscope 16, and our EPM, BI, and BD experts will be at booth number 611 to meet you and greet you and to offer product demos. Jason also mentioned that we're hosting 8 conference sessions. Attend any or all sessions for more chances to win an Apple Watch. And for more information about Kscope, you can visit the events page on our website and click Kscope 16. Thank you to our audience for joining us today, and thank you to both Jason and Vivek for sharing your knowledge during this presentation. This concludes today's webinar. Thank you.